And as required by open meeting law.
Should we wait for Joe?
Where's Joe? Unless he's going to record the meeting, I don't know.
Are we recording?
We're recording. So I'm just going to read this open statement that's required now. As required by open meeting law, you are hereby informed that the town will be videoing and auto taping as well as live broadcasting this public meeting. In addition, anyone who plans to videotape this meeting must notify the chair.
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Prior to the meeting. Okay. I call the Housing Committee meeting of March 2nd, 2020 to order.
I do think we need to wait for Joe to be here.
We have a quorum.
Oh, just the three of us as a quorum?
Mhm.
Oh, look at me not
It
knowing.
is. He was just, it sounded like finishing up a call maybe.
And we're open at 5:09.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any minutes to bother us with this meeting. Hopefully the next one I will. Okay, the big thing on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Primarily has to do with our meeting with the Housing Trust and come up with concrete ways in writing, approved, signed, sealed, and approved, and communicated to them how we want to interface with them, or how do we want to partner with them, or whatever the operative term is. So, at our joint meeting, we talked a couple of things that ran around the table was marketing, you can help with marketing, education. I think marketing, education kind of go hand in glove a little bit there. Be involved in reviewing various processes, like if they write RFPs, looking at developments, looking at land. Do we want to get involved in kind of being part of the process of, approving these things, at least on a,
And that's a good question. Should projects come to us first for support or non-support and then be presented to the trust? What do we think?
So, I think the trust should send them to us and ask for support.
Okay.
I think the trust, being that it's charged as a separate entity and a trust and has gone through all of that, I think they should have the ability to originate it themselves. I don't think it should have to come to us first.
Because it could add time.
Correct. I think it's certainly the right step to refer it to us for our comment and consideration, just like, the Board of Selectmen would send a real estate suggestion to Rios. So I think that makes sense. But I don't...
Because they're not an advisory board.
We are not an advisory board to
We're
them.
the advisory board.
We're the advisory board, but
Okay.
we're advisory to the Board of Selectmen.
so okay,
Right.
let me get this clear now. So what you in your mind, what you're saying is that they should either physically or communicate some way to us that they want us to do whatever yada yada is.
We're looking at 3 projects. We'd like your input on what you think.
So one right now is actually, it's kind of jumping the gun. I just got an email about it, but there's a second one. That's the church rectory, what to do with the building. Now, you were involved with that somewhat because of the historical committee.
Yeah.
So now it's filtered down from the historical committee down to the housing trust. So the housing trust is interested in it, and they haven't done, I don't think they have done much with that so far. It was on the agenda of February, and it just got carried over, and nothing was said about it. So that would be something we'd, or do we actually want them to communicate that to us?
Personally, I think because they have a trust, they should be in the position to ask for our support if they'd like it. I think we're the liaison to the Board of Selectmen, so having our support when they go someplace else to do something else, I think is gonna be helpful. I don't know that it should have to originate with us before it goes to the trust.
Okay.
Like, that's what
Okay, so
because I think they're more autonomous than
I
that.
want to
if you
focus
have-
on this one, so, just let me get it clear. So, okay, so Art Bowden, or anybody goes to a trust meeting, open meeting, and they come up with project XYZ. So they say, oh, and they don't say any more about it. Do you think it would be proper or kosher, or whatever we put it, for us to say, you know, we're partners here, and would you like us to look at this along with you? Or just sit here and wait for them to, I think if you sit and wait for someone to ask you to do something, you're gonna have a long wait. I'm just guessing.
But I also think that they are the ones that are charged, and they should be writing their own agenda on what, as the
Yeah, they do.
housing, affordable housing trust,
Hmm.
they should have an agenda, and I think that's what they're in the process of doing, is setting up an action plan.
Right, there you go.
And I think from that action plan, they're gonna have agenda items, and I think those agenda items are things that we could and should then comment on. I think if we have an idea, we could send it forward to them, but
Okay.
I don't think anything gets anywhere with just,
Well, you-
our input too.
You could have entities looking at possible affordable housing development
Yep,
that's not looking for money at this time.
Correct.
So I think that should,
Sorry.
Thank you.
could come to us before
Did
the
you have a
trust.
forum?
right,
And if those are the
We have it.
situations we want to be, if we're in support of it, we want to be the ones saying, hey, this project came to us, and now we're advocating
well, so,
support.
I guess I look at I don't disagree with you. I do think their charge is more than just
Money,
money.
I agree.
Right, I think, to me, the idea of the trust was that they were gonna take the overreaching look at everything in town and see what fits where. So, I don't disagree with you that somebody may come to us first for support before they go to them, but I don't think they're only limited to those that need money.
I agree. I think
Okay.
it's a
That's right.
two.
Okay, just, I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page.
So,
But where do we think,
so Cindy, can you take a couple of notes on, so good?
That's a big job
We've got to
in and of
vote on
itself,
this tonight.
what you just explained, trying
I'm
to
not
find
trying-
the
I won't be able to
properties.
get
Yeah,
them in.
absolutely.
No, I'll do it. I'll type it up. You just break something down.
You'll have the tape, don't forget.
Okay.
All you have to do is watch the tape shows up on YouTube.
no, I don't mind taking notes, I just won't be able to get them into the
Oh, no.
system
Oh, no.
with,
Now,
um,
if I was mistaken, I know I missed part of the February 4th meeting because I was at CPC or planning or whichever other board it was.
Well,
But I thought they were really looking for us now, not necessarily for what we were going to do, but I thought they were looking for us to help identify kind of the partners in their partners to their action plan.
They
I thought
did.
that's what they were looking for, more so than what they wanted us to,
Well,
what we thought we were gonna
okay.
do.
Yeah.
No, I missed part of the meeting, so I.
No, that was their first point, for sure. They wanted all the stakeholders who they are.
Yeah, and they've done that. A good portion of this past trust meeting was taken up by the consultant firm that they've hired
Yeah.
to come up with the action plan.
But they were asking for input from us, which we haven't met to actually give them that input
That's right.
from us also, so I thought that's what we were.
And
More talking.
they're supposed to be setting up, I'll use the term focus groups, small focus groups, and to kind of drill down and see what input comes from each area around the town. They're looking at, different entities or different departments, whatever. And they're trying to make it broad as much as pulling as many people as you can. It's like the same old story, you're only going to probably get a handful of people that are going to want to, talk about what their issues are or what their concerns are. So, but they're going to try. So, yeah, we have not, and I'm been waiting for the phone call or the email or something, whatever the way I want to communicate that, they were gonna ask for our direct input to their action plan. And we're supposed to be getting it, because we're part of one of the stakeholders. So, so in one sense, to review, okay, looking at the System Road project over here. So I'll jump ahead. I just got this email as I was, well, it wasn't while I was sitting here. It came in, when did it come in here? I think I found it again. From, okay, oh. It came to me at 1:15. Okay, I'm sorry, it didn't just come in, but it came at 1:15. But I didn't pick this up until I got here. You know, I'm one of these people, I look at my cell phone twice a day and that's about it. And she says, hello, Art. She says, you stated to the trust that your committee can draft up recommendations on the development criteria for System Road. Please send the document to me as soon as possible so I can submit to the chairman, Don Hall.
Can you say that again?
So
That
who's
we
it-
can draft a what?
Recommendations
Recommendations, okay.
on the development criteria
So who did that come from?
for System Road.
Because it's not
This-
agended, so I don't think we can speak on it today.
Well,
It's not agended, and we are on camera. So I just don't see how we can,
well, the thing is,
it's a public meeting.
Yeah.
Something like that I think is important enough that it should be on an agenda and people could comment on it. Somebody might want to come and comment about the System Road project before we make a recommendation. So I'm uncomfortable with us trying to do that when it's not agended on the meeting.
no, it wasn't an agenda, because like I said, and
No, I understand that.
And even if at 1:15, I
No,
looked
you
at it,
can't.
I still
No,
can't do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I just,
Okay. So we'll have to bring it up. If it, I think it's still gonna be open, because, the System Road project, to give a little background, that was mentioned at the last trust meeting, and apparently, because of budgets coming up and a number of other things going on in town, writing an RFP for the trust, it doesn't have much of a priority right now. So apparently, there's no one to write an RFP in the town structure.
like,
That's what I heard. I can't comment any further than that.
I don't know that that's our role, is to write an RFP.
Not our role. No, that's not our role.
So-
I mean, there's only, you know, there's only so many people that are either qualified or it's part of the job description. It's not ours. So, we'll put that on the next agenda. So I don't think that RFP for that project is gonna go out anytime soon. So,
I wouldn't think so.
no, so based on, you know, what they said. So, okay, so getting along with, now, keep in mind, and I should have made it, well, I had made copies of this and passed out the last meeting. This was the amended bylaw for the Affordable Housing Trust, and where they had added under duties and responsibilities. In addition, the Affordable Housing Trust shall work with Harwich Housing Committee to develop an affordable housing plan, which shall be updated each year and a copy presented to the Board of Selectmen. So that's in writing. So, you know, so at least once a year, we're supposed to, apparently, from what I'm getting, sit down with them and come up with a plan.
Well, there's,
Different than the production plan.
But, yeah, the production plan is completely different.
so that to me would be our commenting on their action plan, right?
On a yearly basis.
Yeah.
But in between, I want us to, you know, be working close as possible to them. Otherwise, we're not, the Board of Selectmen, they don't even know if we exist anymore. But
Well, that's who we report to, so.
Yeah. So, if, of course, the trust can, look at this, whatever we come up with, and say, that's too far reaching, or, maybe, so and so forth, and boil it all down. Or add to it, too. I don't know what direction they're gonna go in. So, at this point, until they have that action plan, they seem a little gun shy if we're really doing too much at all. Because they want that in there.
Tell me if you guys feel the same. I don't know that we can vote on what we think we can help with until we know what they're gonna do.
That's what I'm not sure what,
Well, they're looking
When we
for,
I need some more meat, I think.
yeah. but-
When we see what their action plan is, then I think you can look at the action plan, and I think that will tell you, you'll see areas where you can say,
Right.
hey, this project, I think we can help with the marketing on that, or help with,
Okay. So another area, and this is one that I've been involved in, is being an advocate for housing. Okay? I go to all the trust meetings, and I started to go to the planning board meetings.
Oh, yeah? Jeez, you got a lot
That
of
was
time in-
fun.
got a lot of time in your hands,
Oh, that was a fun time.
I'm sure.
And the reason only if housing is being,
Yeah.
if there's housing on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So, I went to the February planning
you went to the one
board
with the Royale.
with the Royal,
Yeah.
okay? And a couple things happened. I got a new education on a butters. I thought I had heard some pretty amazing things a butter could come up with. A whole new ballgame.
I heard about
And
it.
a whole new crowd of people against it. So, as a citizen, I stood up and made a comment. And my comment was basically, I'll boil it down to the point they were talking about, which all butters talk about, is traffic, cars, kids playing in the street, yada, yada, yada. My comment was, I listened to all this, I listened to all this stuff. I haven't heard one thing about people. No one here said anything about people. And I drove that home like the third time. I says, we should be worried about people, not where the cars are going to drive or be parked or stored or not, or if there's a place for them. If there's no place for them to park, I won't care about that. But my concern is someone needs a home. That's more important than where Mr. X is going to park his car or his extra car or something like that. So that was my comment.
One
So-
of the trust members went as well and was advocating for it as well.
Yeah, there was Brendan was there.
Brendan went, Judith went.
And Judith was there. They all spoke very, so anyways, and there was a few other people that spoke in favor of it. Now, fast forward, earlier last week, I get a call from Mike McCaskill. And Mike says to me, he says there's another meeting coming up. Well, they've also had a zoning board meeting.
And then before zoning board of appeals and planning.
And then there was one that was continuance, the last one. I showed up for that one, but there was continuance.
Right.
So there's another one coming up in March 25th. And so Mike says to me, he says, the developer is just going to call you and ask you if you don't mind being at the meeting and speaking, if need be. Maybe you don't, maybe it's going to go, but he says, I said, oh, I think you're going to have to, because there's one gentleman in town that's just, he's out of his tree over it, but, and I don't know why. I've tried to brainstorm why he was so against it, but I can't figure out why.
So, personally speaking, if you're going to stand up and speak for this committee, we should be taking a vote as the committee to go and do that. And again, it's not on our agenda tonight, so I don't know when the next meeting is.
Well, the next meeting is well, for us.
When their next meeting is,
Oh,
when the next zoning
their
board.
next meeting is the 25th. I'm just going to speak as Art Bowden, 800
Yeah.
Orleans Road, period, end of conversation.
So here's my comment, if we know about it enough in advance, then
Can
we
we?
can, but I think we need to agenda it and have a vote on it,
Yeah.
so that you can stand up and say, the housing committee voted in support of the project, because otherwise you are only speaking as yourself.
Yeah,
And
I
that
sit on
hasn't
the
come to
planning board,
us.
so I can't
Yeah.
comment on the planning board side of it.
yeah, but this is a zoning board, but
Right.
they're a little different animal.
So, but I think those are the things that we should be doing on a regular basis. And actually, it's very easy for us to do. Zoning Board of Appeals puts out an agenda packet. They have a list of legal notices. The legal notices go out earlier than the agendas.
Well,
So if you just pay attention to that,
Yeah.
and every couple of weeks, just check the zoning board of appeals postings for legal advertisements, you'll see what's on the list,
Right.
and then you'll know to be able to agenda it for our next meeting, and then we can vote to support or not. So at historic and at planning, we get, at both committees, we get the zoning board of appeals agenda.
Right.
So on a historic perspective, if we see a zoning board of appeals matter, if there's something in the campground, we might want to comment and say that, we're interested in protecting the buildings in the campground. Or if it was something like 711 Main Street. 711 Main Street actually came to historic first, but if it had gone to planning first, historic could have sent a letter and said, we're very interested in, it's in the historic district, so please keep in mind that it needs to come to historic before final plans are done. So by putting those legal notices, looking at them and putting them in with your agenda packet, you'll be able to, I think, see those and flag those things so that we can give you more meat to stand up with and say, hey, we voted and we, the committee are supporting it, never mind just me, Art Bowden. So,
Yeah,
Probably carries a lot more weight too, Art.
Oh, yeah, but I picked that up going through the planning board.
Yeah, so
The
I
le-
just-
the-
if you
the
look for
legal
those-
notice.
look for the legal notices, because the legal notices get posted just like agendas get posted. So if you look on the zoning board of appeals webpage and the planning board webpage, you'll be able to see the legal notices. And like I said, they go out further in advance than the agendas, so
Right.
you'll have a little more headway on those.
Okay. So, anyway.
All right.
So, yeah, with the Royal, and so anyways, just to wrap up the story,
Mhm.
The developer called me Saturday mornings. talked
And
about
who's the
doing-
developer?
Can't think of his last name. First name is Ben.
No, that's the attorney, that's Ben Zender.
He's
He's the attorney, he's the attorney for them.
Yeah, I did speak, I just in passing spoke to him at the planning board. Because I did say to him, I said, I liked your presentation. He made a good presentation. Very level-headed, no nonsense. And, but he indicated to me that they're now willing to allocate X number of units as affordable, if it were. They're sweetening the pie up. And they're taking another look at the parking, because the parking, even though they met the criteria for the number of parking spaces, it wasn't really, it was the exact number. It wasn't like, you needed 20 and they got 50 or something like that, They need 20 by law. They got 20, but they're looking at something to,
I
I don't know
actually
how,
thought
what
they
they're
had,
planning on
I
doing.
actually thought they had a few more, but
Well, they
regardless.
got one, they got a few, but it's not much over the minimum. But all you gotta do is meet the minimum and so anyways, that's on the 25th, and so just keep it to myself, that's all, and take up, you've got a good point there. Because, well, those get posted in the Chronicle, I've been reading, trying to pick them out of the Chronicle.
They do, but it may be easier for you to find them on the website,
On the website.
because they're gonna get posted on the website
Regardless.
Okay.
regardless.
So it should just be kind of scrubbing the website
Yep.
every week or so. Okay.
Every week, every 2 weeks, I'd say. You'll find them.
Okay, so, get back to the.
Let's see, can I ask you a question about,
Sure.
on the action plan, do they have a drop dead date as to when the consultant has to have that done?
Yeah, they did have some dates up there. They were looking for the month of March to do their focus group things, and they seem to be crowding a lot in. But they haven't, as far as I can tell, they haven't set any dates for when they're gonna have this focus group. But they wanna run them through during the day and evening also, to hopefully solve the day-evening problem with people that work and they like to stop by and, and so on and so forth, and make a comment. So they're putting a lot of criteria onto the focus group to add to
Right,
them.
but, so that's just one step, so they didn't go all the way out and tell you that they're gonna have it by July 1st, or?
They're looking like, they wanted to say, initially, that I think it was like first part of May or something, and Don Howell said, he says, there's no way we're gonna build it by then.
That's pretty.
So because we got the annual meeting coming up and yada, 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 so, so they kind of backed off a little bit, because, I don't know what their marching orders were. It was just Don Howell had been giving them the marching orders, basically. And so I don't know what he told them originally. I just have a few things that didn't sit too well with me, but part of it has to do with my feeling about consultants in general.
Yeah.
I just think there's enough brain power in Harwich collectively to write your own action plan, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's a time thing, too.
Yeah, I
I mean,
was
people
gonna-
have other things to do besides.
Yeah, it's hard. And then in the annual meeting, like the town hall is, well, after Mary, she knows, everyone's locked down with the election and the town and the annual meeting and leading up to it. And then afterwards, it's okay, everyone gets around and says, okay, what was said at the annual meeting? They probably brainstorm for days, right?
We do.
So, even though you know what was said, everyone has to agree on what was
Yeah.
said, how it was said. So that's interesting. So, okay, we got a review, so, yeah, and everyone's right. The action plan is, I think you're hitting a big part of it. Until that comes together, it's not much for us to kind of grab onto.
We're just
No,
grasping
right.
at straws right now, not
Yeah.
knowing why.
And I think
spin our
once you
wheels.
see it, you're gonna look at it and say, oh, well, this makes sense.
Right.
This is
These
where
are
we fit in.
This is where we can fit in.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna know that better than any of us, just by your day-to-day work, and to be able to say, hey, this
Yeah.
makes sense for us, or doesn't.
Okay. So we're not going to do anything with the Sisson Road, because it's not on the
Yeah, I
agenda.
just don't
and
think
well, it won't
I don't think
be.
it's smart for us to do it without,
It'll be April, the first Monday of April, whatever that is, 7th or 4th, I don't know. And hopefully, I think Megan will be joining us, and which that is obviously good news for her.
Mhm.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And father must be doing well. She's coming home.
Keep in mind, the meeting for May, the first week is,
Oh, yeah,
Is
I'm going to have to
town
do something with
meeting.
that, because
so,
the town meeting is right, what, the 2nd?
May 4th,
May 4th, I was gonna say.
4th, 5th, 6th, so.
So I'll
I'll have
spin
to
it
be
out
late. Yeah, I'll have
a
to
week
be
or
late.
two. So I had published a May schedule, but just asterisk that'll be indicated. So, just in general comments, I'll just go over, well, we kind of mentioned the Sisson Road project, and they're on hold for writing an RFP, and the Housing Trust, the last meeting, big portion was taken up by the consultants, talking about their time frame and so on and so forth, and what they've come up with. And they really haven't come up with anything, well, at least they didn't present anything really hard. They were just kind of fact-finding stage right now. And then you, about the Royal. Under general business, we have a peer group meeting coming up. If anyone's interested or can make it,
What's the date and time?
This
Is it during
Thursday.
regular?
this Thursday from, at least it's late in the afternoon, it's, was it 3 to 5? Over at the Brewster Town Hall. So if you're in town.
I get emails from that lady
Oh,
all
do you?
the
Oh, you
time.
get it?
yeah.
Okay. So
I'm out of
everyone's
town,
getting it.
so.
Oh, that's good, okay.
This is gonna be, that's a good agenda too, the person's gonna be speaking.
So going around the table, we've got general comments.
I do have one. There is interest in the Wishing Well Motel by a number of,
Wishing well.
on, it must be on
West Harwich.
28, West
West
Harwich.
Harwich.
What do you think the town's palette would be for converting motel into housing?
Well,
It's an existing structure.
I will say, it was in the housing production plan to do that. It was included in the housing production plan. I don't know that
That's right.
it's been
That particular
driven.
property, Mary?
No,
Oh.
but one of the items in the housing production plan was that the town, was suggested that the town should look at motels for motel conversions. Which one is the Wishing Well? Is that the one that's right?
I think it's
Outside
20.
of Main Street, isn't it? Oh, no, that's not.
There's two, there's one right across the street from the weather deck, and there's one that's right next door to the plaza where the lighthouse and the post office is in West Harwich.
I'm really
across
not
from the old
sure
mill
which
store.
property.
It's
Oh,
one of the
across
two.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's the last one.
I think it's the one right,
Yeah,
right.
where the mill store is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's really
part-
on the Yarmouth,
Yeah.
Dennis line, Dennis, Howard line.
And Yarmouth has a,
That's
Yarmouth has a, with Yarmouth Gardens, didn't they keep that as the
Yep.
motel
Yep.
style apartments?
Conversion, I mean, it
So
happens
there's-
across the Cape.
Right. I'm saying
Yeah.
there's a recent one that
Could be
you
looked
could
at.
point to for direction.
Yeah.
So the property is
For sale.
Really?
Yeah.
And I know three people have been, three people,
Developers.
well, not all developers, certainly a commercial person, but I know Housing Assistance Corporation has looked at it,
Yeah.
and apparently another potential affordable housing.
Mhm.
My question is, do we think it's palatable to the town?
It's worth a shot.
Could it be workforce housing? I mean, I know this committee would like to see the capital A,
Yeah,
Right.
right, definitely.
but,
But you try to convert them or actually start?
They turn the rooms into.
they would convert them, and probably it would probably be fewer units.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Than, I don't know how many, let's say there's 20 now, it may turn into 10 units.
Take some walls down.
Right. Right, you're gonna make probably studios or 1 and 2 bedrooms and with studio kitchens kind of thing.
Just wanting to know the feel from this committee.
Okay, well, we could.
I don't think there's a harm in this committee supporting the interest in it. And, you know, you can't give anything support until you see an application and know
Exactly.
what's gonna be done,
What
but,
is it?
but
What kind of dollar, you don't know what kind of asking price is?
Mhm. I believe I heard it was 500,000.
What can you buy for 500,000?
There could be other issues, but I.
right, well, I'm sure.
Don't hold me to that, but I.
It's like-
That's a little low to me, Cindy.
Well, I don't think it's that big of a property. It's
No.
kind of tucked in the back behind that.
Another
strip mall.
question would be, does anybody in this committee, not this committee, have a sense of when sewer in that area would come to play?
That's
Because a
DHY.
wastewater treatment is what skyrockets any development.
So that's the DHY project. If DHY goes through, that might, what has been said was if the DHY partnership goes through, then West Harwich, that stretch of Route 28, might be renumbered. But I would suggest the people to talk to would be the administration office and probably Griffin Ryder, because he's seemingly taking point on some of the sewer
Well, that's
stuff.
So that's it's not the Chatham Harwich then section.
No.
That's D8, okay.
It's either gonna be Harwich itself, or there's gonna be a three-town partnership, and I would think the West
Well,
Harwich portion is gonna be the one that would go to.
Isn't there
with
an
Dennis
article,
and
there's an article to make
There
that
is.
happen? Yeah, okay,
But I think there was a meeting on it last week.
yeah.
There's been lots of meetings on it. Don Howell happens to be
Okay.
the
But I mean,
selectman's
I mean,
liaison to the
Okay.
partnership.
But timeframe, you're probably looking,
Well, it's not gonna be in the next year. I mean,
No,
Probably-
that's okay.
no, but I mean, if it's,
if everything goes well, 4 to 5 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, I heard 10.
Okay. Oh, okay.
well, I think 10 may have been the original calendaring for that
Well,
area in the first
The
place.
challenge now, we got this overrun on this initial project, and how is that gonna float?
But that's an easy ask, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
find out where it is on the current plan and where
Could be,
they
yep.
think it could be if it's, and I think, if memory serves, there was talk at one point about Route 28, because the state is currently on Route 28 in Dennis. Within the next year or two, they're gonna be doing Route 28 in West Harwich. They're moving down the roadway. So I think part of it will also be when that happens, because the challenge will be when the state goes to do that road, we're gonna have to put the dry pipe in. I suspect we will have to put the dry pipe in, or else you're 5 years out. So maybe a developer puts in the dry pipe so that it's ready to go when it ties up. That may actually speed something along too. So that's certainly worth
Definitely worth
somebody
looking at.
making the phone calls.
Do you think West Harwich is moving up the number, on the number
I
list?
have no idea. I think, I know when they were initially talking about DHY, the comment was made at the selectmen's meeting that DHY, if it happened, may end up requiring the renumbering of some of the phases. So that's all I recall from literally selectmen's meetings, that's about it. Because I think West Harwich was further out. So, at that point. So I think it may speed it up. And like I said, I think the dry pipe may have to be sped up because of the state doing the roadway. Because once you cut into a road, once they do a roadway, there's usually a 5-year moratorium, so. for
Well,
everybody.
that brings up the subject about zoning changes.
And that would also have to apply, the zoning change.
And would that be something the committee wants to take on, as look at other, well, I'm just gonna use the term, wishing well
Mhm.
motels that are either defunct or heading in that direction.
So I will say this, a zoning change, obviously is too late for this
This-
town meeting.
So,
There's a possibility of a fall town meeting.
mhm.
I don't know if it's actually gonna happen or not, but maybe if there's a fall town meeting, we might have time to do that, but that would be selectmen and planning board, I would think, to start with.
But someone's gotta plant the first seed to, to get.
Well, somebody has to say, yes, we want to, yes, we want to look at something.
Right.
Somebody has to draft it. And
Exactly.
then people can look at it, so.
And if you can get a zoning change and where these old motels, well, like Yarmouth did, that's how they were able to now come through and do this great plan, because now
Right,
they.
but Yarmouth did two very different projects, right? They did the old Cavalier, which is new building, they knocked down, just used the land, and then you've got Yarmouth Gardens that's the old building, right, that they kind of reconstructed?
No,
It's in the motel?
that's all new.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what Yarmouth Gardens.
Yarmouth Gardens is the one that was behind, past the Christmas tree shop on the left-hand side where that old building with the
White
elephant,
columns?
with the
Oh,
elephant out
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
That's Yarmouth Gardens in the back there.
And that's 55, that's 50,
I don't think
no, I'm
so.
thinking I'm thinking the carriage. No, I'm thinking.
That was, let me see. Let me see if I can call it up.
Yeah, Yarmouth Carver.
That was the, I
Yarmouth
think that was the,
Commons is the old Cavalier.
right.
It's around 50 yards, 50, maybe it's
Mhm.
55, I'm not sure, but it's something like that. Where the Commons is the bigger building,
The
closer
gardens.
to 28, the gardens, gardens, closer to 28.
Yarmouth Gardens Motor Lodge.
Yeah, I'm not involved with
I tell you, those are nice looking
the,
buildings.
I'm not involved with the gardens, I'm involved with
And
Commons.
if you get down that way,
Yeah, oh, I've seen them, yeah.
yeah, they're very handsome looking buildings. They don't look like affordable housing. So,
Was Yarmouth Gardens just a 40B?
I think it's the Affordable Housing Trust was doing, converting the old motel back there. Yarmouth Gardens was, I think, the original, the first hotel in Yarmouth back in the day. And I'm trying to see where, I don't have the affordable,
Yarmouth Commons is definitely the
Cavalier.
Cavalier and affordable.
Right.
well,
And
they're both
so
are.
Yarmouth was doing two affordable, had two projects
Right.
in the works. They had the Cavalier, which they knocked down and built those
Mhm.
beautiful townhouses,
Yeah.
or buildings, whatever they
Mhm.
are. And then Yarmouth Gardens is further up on the left-hand side
But-
as you're heading towards Hyannis. It's after the Christmas tree shop and right where that the building with the old elephant on the left-hand side. It was like the
Oh, I
India
know.
whatever.
Yeah,
It's tucked
yeah,
in.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was tucked in. It had a weird round glass.
You sure that's,
Yeah,
garden? Because there's two projects side by side, practically side by side.
No.
Anyways.
Yarmouth Commons was 861 Route 28 in South Yarmouth, the former site of the Cavalier Motel. And then Yarmouth Gardens is 497 Route 28 in West Yarmouth. They're working with Commonwealth Community Developers to redevelop the Yarmouth Gardens Motor Lodge into 40 high-quality affordable apartments. As of 2018, the development was seeking state and federal financing. Please see the links below. Let's see. So there's site plan review on it. I'm trying to see if there's pictures of the old. Oh yeah, they're proposing similar style apartment buildings to Yarmouth Commons. If this is the one I think it is, unless I'm in the wrong one.
But you think this Yarmouth Commons is already existing?
I think Yarmouth Commons is the one.
I mean,
that
I'm sorry, Gardens. I meant to
It's,
say.
so here's the site plan for it.
So it's not built yet?
It's not built yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not built yet. That's in progress.
That's it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And it's, if you look at the picture here,
But they're just taking down those old,
if you look at Yarmouth Gardens
Motel.
Motor Lodge, there are pictures of Yarmouth Garden Motor
Yep.
Lodge, and if you'll be
Yep.
able to see it on the front, it was this one with the. It's got a big round window in the front of it somewhere. It had that building in front, and then it has this weird, like, that.
Oh, yeah,
round,
yeah, yeah.
You know, the
Yep.
building, the round
Not
windows.
what I was thinking of at all. Okay. Well, thank you for
okay,
input
thank you.
and to know it's I forgot it was part of the production.
Any
plan.
other comments before we
I'm good.
wrap it up? All
Yeah.
good? Mary?
Motion to adjourn. If we're
Okay.
done,
Make it a motion. Mary?
I'll
To adjourn?
second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
My scratches.
You're scratching. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So we should